What the 2024 United Nations World Population Prospects Report shows about where humanity is heading as far as world population is concerned. The demographic landscape has evolved greatly in recent years. Li Junhua, Undersecretary General for Economic Social Affairs at the United Nations, said in a new release. The report forecasts that the world's population will continue to swell over the next several decades, growing from 8.2 billion people in 2024 to a peak of nearly 10.3 billion people in 50 to 60 years. But it would not grow forever. The global population is expected to return to 10.2 billion people in 2100, which is 6% lower than what the UN experts have projected a decade ago. The UN's previous population assessment, released in 2022, suggested that humanity could grow to 10.4 billion people by the late 2000s, but lower birth rates in some of the world's largest countries, including China, are among the reasons for the earlier than anticipated population peak. More than half of all countries have fertility rates less than 2.1 births per woman, or what's known as the replacement rate, because it's the number of children that each woman would need to have on average to keep the population from declining. 48 more countries, including Vietnam, Brazil, Turkey, and Iran, are expected to see their population peak over the next 30 years. India's population of 1.4 billion makes it the world's most populous country after it surpassed China's population in 2022. India's population is also expected to keep increasing through mid-century, according to the report. China's population, however, has been declining. China, in the last couple of years, has experienced a very fast, very significant further decline in the number of children born, said Patrick Gerland, Chief of Population Estimates and Projections Sections in the Population Division of the United Nations. The changes that China is experiencing within the last generation have been some of the fastest in all the world, Garland said. Were it not for immigration, the United States would also be facing population declines. It's one of the about 50 places projected to be able to keep growing due to immigration gains. The U.S. is projected to grow from 345 million this year, 2024, to 421 million by the end of the century. The country's growth will likely exacerbate issues around consumption, greenhouse gas emissions, and other drivers of global warming. A larger population also means more people will be exposed to climate risks such as droughts, heat waves, and other extreme weather events intensified by global warming. Just because a challenge might be emerging 6 decades into the future does not mean it does not make sense to be talking about it now, said Dean Spears, Associate Professor of Economics at University of Texas at Austin. Decades from now, people will be talking about these new population changes with the same level of scholarly and social interest we now talk about climate change, Spears said. Other countries that are expected to continue growing through 2054 include India, Indonesia, Pakistan, and Nigeria. In some parts of Africa, including Angola, the Central African Republic, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Niger, and Somalia, populations are expected to grow rapidly, doubling between 2024 and 2054, according to the UN. But adding more people to the planet does not necessarily increase the pace of climate change. Most of the fastest growing parts of the world are countries that have historically contributed least to global warming. These same areas are typically also disproportionately affected by climate change. The report cited a bounce back in life expectancy levels after the pandemic bit into them. Globally, the life expectancy in 2023 was 73.2 years. That's up from a pandemic low of 70.9 in 2021 and higher than pre-pandemic 72.4 5 years earlier. Global life expectancy is projected to reach 81.7 years in 2100. As life expectancies increase and fertility rates decrease, the world's population will grow older, projections show that those 65 and older will outnumber children younger than 18 by 2080. As of 2023, children outnumber those 65 and older by nearly 3 to 1. This was originally on NBC News. It's on DYNUZ. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.